Hello, Coach Holmes here, and today we're going to be continuing prepping for the EOC STAR test. And one of the things we want to be able to do is be able to solve equations. And that's basically the core of algebra. The core of algebra is being able to solve for equations and figure out how is the equation true. So for example, if we want to solve the equation 5m minus 7 over 8 equals 6, we want to solve for m. So there's a value of m that makes the equation true. So if I just rewrite the equation real quick. So one of the things we're going to have to be able to do is be able to solve for m. But we got to think about the opposite. What is the opposite of what we want to do? Notice how this m, the whole thing, is divided by 8. What's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So I want to multiply by 8 to both sides. The 8 will cancel each other out. So I'm left with 5m minus 7. And 6 times 8 is going to give me 48. Now, next thing I want to do is 5m minus 7. So it's subtracting the m part of it, or at least something to do with subtracting. And the opposite of that is addition. So add 7 to both sides, and I get 5m equals 55. Now, when it's 5m, we know that to be multiplying. It's going to multiply each other. Doesn't show the little multiplication sign, doesn't show the little dot, but I know it's multiplying. And the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So divide by 5, and that's going to give me m equals 11. Okay? So that's the basics of solving equations. That's the basics of algebra, is to solve an equation like this. And it's just a regular, simple equation. It's a pretty simple equation. But now let's talk about number 2. Which number is a solution to 12x minus 7 greater than 7x plus 13, or 4x plus 5 greater than 7x plus 35? So one of the things we want to be able to do is be able to solve the equation. We'll solve what we call inequalities because of the greater than signs, or less than if you actually see one. But now I got multiple choices here. Instead of actually, one idea is, instead of actually solving it, let's plug in the values and work the equation out, work out the inequalities. So for example, I can do 12 times negative 10 minus 7 greater than 7 times negative 10 plus 13. So if I do that in a calculator, and I'll show you real quick, 12 parentheses, negative 10 minus 7 is the first part right here. Okay, that's the first part. So I press enter, and I get negative 127. Next, I want to be able to press in 7 parentheses, negative 10, close parentheses, plus 13. And it should look something like this. Press enter, and I get, negative 57. Now, remember, when it's negative, the bigger number isn't the biggest. When it comes to being negative, it's actually the number closest to 0. Negative 57 is going to be closer to 0. So this will not work. Next, I want to go ahead and figure out, but since I know that to be not true, I'm just going to move on to the next one. Next will be -4. So I'm going to do 4 times -4 plus 5 greater than -7, +7 times -4 plus 35. Now, when it says or, it could be either one. And you kind of have to look at it like mustard or mayonnaise. If I say mustard, that's fine. If I say or mayonnaise, that's fine. Just pick one or the other. That's what or means, one or the other. So it doesn't matter which equation I use, but I want to use this second one just to make sure what I'm doing is correct. So -16 plus 5 is greater than -28 plus 35. This will give me -11 greater than 7. Well, I know this is not true. So -4 wouldn't work. Okay? But I do want to double check the second one. I just realized I do want to since I mentioned one or the other, this may be false, but I want to double check to make sure this isn't true as well. -40 plus 5 greater than 70 plus 35. Oh, -10. So -70, which is -35 greater than -35. And if it's the same as, and it's not really true because it's not equals to. There is a greater than or equals to, but that's not the case here. So this is definitely false. But now, just to make sure about the other one, and I'll speed this up, but if I plug in the values accordingly, this is what I would get. -55 greater than -15. Well, that's not true at all, so -4 doesn't work. Okay? Now next, we want to try x equals 4. So 12 times 4 minus 7 greater than 7 times 4 plus 13. This would give me 41 greater than 41. Well, it's equals to itself, but it's not an equals to, so this wouldn't work. Well, I'll wait. I gotta make sure to check the other one. I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. But I do gotta check the other one. 12 times 4 minus 7 greater than 7 times 4 plus 13, which gives me 21 greater than 63. And we know that not to be true, so this is false as well. Now, since all three are eliminated, that means D has to be the right answer. But we'll double check to make sure. All right, so 12 times -12 is -7 greater than 7 times -12 plus 13, which, plugging into the calculator, that's going to give me -151 greater than -71. And that's not true, but I do got to check my last inequality. 4 times -12 plus 5 greater than 7 times -12 plus 35, which gives me -43 greater than -49. We know that to be true because -43 is going to be a lot closer to 0 than -49. So this would be a true statement. D would be the answer, but that's how you will make sure to check. And that's just one thing I can do. I can just plug in my equation to make sure if it's true. And last, we want to be able to solve this equation x minus negative 2.7 equals negative 3.4. Okay. Now, notice that I have the two negatives back to back. If that's the case, that becomes a positive. It becomes a positive. Okay? Becomes positive. So what do I gotta do? I gotta be able to get rid of this 2.7. And the best way to do that is to subtract. And this would actually give me negative 6.1. And the reason why it gets bigger is because it's negative minus a number. Negative minus a number makes it bigger. Okay? So, one of the biggest things that we're going to have to be able to do is solve for equations. And if you're able and capable of solving equations, you're going to do just fine on the ELC. Go ahead and get practice with those worksheets. Good luck.